headlines of this hour on VTV News. According to the party chief, socio-economic report must help realize national development goals. And inflation control measures needed to boost economic growth. In our world news, Ukraine confirms withdrawal from SUDZHA.
Broadcasting from Hanoi, the capital of Vietnam. VTV News starts right now.
Good morning. It is 8 a.m. local time in Hanoi, and you're watching VTV News. I'm Huyền Trân with the top stories. Party General Secretary Tô Lâm on March 17th called for extra efforts to finalize the 14th National Party Congress draft socio-economic report, ensuring that it serves as a handbook for action to realize the country's goals for 2030 and 2045. He was speaking at a working session on March 17th of the Socio-Economic Subcommittee of the 14th National Party Congress, which Prime Minister Phạm Minh Chính heads.
Emphasizing that socioeconomic issues are broad, complex, highly specialized, and rapidly changing, requiring regular updates and supplements, the party chief suggested further research into new issues, the continued implementation of the policy to streamline the political system, a deeper evaluation of the policy's results, and the reorganization and restructuring of administrative units at all levels.
This is not just a matter of boundary adjustments between localities but also an issue of economic spatial restructuring. At the same time, it is necessary to reassess national and regional planning in the planning and development orientation of localities across the country.
Regarding the GDP growth targets, the Party General Secretary highlighted the need to continue researching and clarifying the concept of Vietnam's new growth model in the upcoming period, particularly focusing on the fundamental elements required for rapid and sustainable development.
Issues such as productivity, quality, efficiency, added value, and competitiveness must drive the creation of new production methods, new business sectors, and higher quality production processes. In the country's new growth model, it is essential to define the roles of different sectors while emphasizing the private sector as the most crucial driver for growth.
The party leader urged further research and policy reform to meet development requirements, to create a favorable legal environment, a transparent, safe, and low-cost business environment, and to position Vietnam as a leading nation in administrative reform, entrepreneurship, and innovation. He also emphasized the need to continue reviewing the draft report to ensure a balance between economic, cultural, and social development, with the ultimate goal of continually improving the material and spiritual lives of the people.
Developing the private economy, a lever for a prosperous Vietnam, is the title of an article by Party General Secretary Tô Lâm. The article emphasizes that from an economy with an average income per capita of only $96 in 1989, Vietnam has grown strongly, and it is expected to enter the group of upper middle income countries by the end of 2025, equivalent to over $5,000 per person per year. And this success has benefited from a very important contribution from the private business sector. With nearly 1 million enterprises and about 5 million individual business households, the private sector currently contributes about 51% of GDP, more than 30% of the state budget, creates more than 40 million jobs, accounts for more than 82% of the total labor force, and contributes nearly 60% of total social investment capital. Party General Secretary Tô Lâm emphasized that the strong performance of many Vietnamese private enterprises not only dominates the domestic market, but also affirms that if there is a favorable development environment, Vietnamese enterprises can reach far and compete internationally. And at a meeting on Monday with the Government Inspectorate Standing Committee and relevant agencies, Party General Secretary Tô Lâm emphasized the urgent need to address mass complaints and cases that exceed local authority. While acknowledging the efforts of the government inspectorate, he noted that unresolved complaints continue to pose risks to social stability and are being exploited for misinformation. To address this, he urged the government party committee, ministries and localities to implement comprehensive solutions, limit new cases, and strictly adhere to party policies on complaint resolution. Additionally, he directed the government inspectorate to develop a plan to streamline the inspection agency system, improve efficiency, and enhance digital transformation in handling complaints and citizen petitions. Vietnam wishes to join hands with other nations to address global issues, and this was the emphasis of State President Lương Cường when receiving the credentials of 9 ambassadors at the beginning of their tenure in Vietnam.
Welcoming Greek Ambassador Antonios Papakostas, the state president expressed his belief that the diplomat would act as a bridge and contribute positively to further strengthening the traditional friendship between the two countries. He requested the ambassador work closely with Vietnamese partners to promote measures that further enhance bilateral cooperation.
After meeting with Colombian Ambassador to Vietnam, Camila Maria Polo Flores, State President Lương Cường wished for both sides to maintain existing cooperation mechanisms and continue actively supporting each other at multilateral forums. He also hailed Colombia's successful chairing of the 2024 Partnering for Green Growth and the Global Goals 2030 Summit. He requested that Colombia support Vietnam in successfully hosting this year's event.
Welcoming Panama's Ambassador Nubiela Ayala Modes, the state leader suggested the ambassador work closely with the Vietnamese side to further enhance relations and multifaceted cooperation. He also encouraged coordination in organizing activities to celebrate the 50th anniversary of diplomatic relations to strengthen bilateral collaboration.
Also on Monday, State President Lương Cường received credentials from the non-resident ambassadors of Liberia, the Democratic Republic of the Congo, the Republic of the Congo, Burundi, Portugal, and Tanzania, affirming that this event marked a new milestone in the development of relations between Vietnam and these countries. Amidst complicated developments in the world, he said he is confident that the countries will join hands with Vietnam at multilateral forums to address global issues and build a peaceful world with a fair political and economic order based on the fundamental principles of the UN Charter and international law.
On average, the Consumer Price Index, or CPI, in the first 2 months of the year increased by 3.27% compared to the same period last year. This increase was expected as prices inevitably increased during TED and then stabilized. However, from now until the end of the year, there are still many pressures requiring appropriate measures to control inflation while also aiming for strong economic growth.
Food is a group of goods that accounts for a large portion of the inflation items, and pork is a significant one. A 10% increase in pork prices will increase the Consumer Price Index by 0.34%. Recently, pig sales have commenced, causing pork prices in some places to decrease gradually.
Last week, the price of pork was $3.1 per kilogram. It has tended to decrease to about $2.9 per kilogram.
However, purchasing power is still quite gloomy when people have a mentality of tightening budgets. When purchasing power increases strongly again, it must be closely monitored for inflation.
Electricity, gas, and construction material prices are likely to increase due to market demand. Healthcare services increased late last year, so they will likely have a big impact on inflation in the first half of this year.
The General Statistics Office has set up 3 inflation scenarios. In the low-end scenario, the US dollar's Vietnam Dong exchange rate is stable, and interest rates only increase slightly. The average CPI for the remaining 10 months is about 3.95%. In the high-end scenario, the average CPI for the remaining 10 months may increase by 4.8%. In addition, the recent tuition fee exemption and reduction, along with many other tax and fee exemption policies, will help reduce pressure on prices.
Through the Ministry of Finance's SME Development Fund, small and medium enterprises can access loans at interest rates 30 to 40% below market levels, particularly for projects in value chains, industry clusters, or innovation. However, the disbursement remains challenging, spurring new efforts to streamline the process.
Having invested more than 250,000 USDs in high-tech machinery, the company that produces rubber equipment molds for Toyota, Tesla, and Honda relies heavily on loan capital for its success. The business can borrow up to 70% of its asset value at a fixed 4% annual interest rate for up to 7 years.
Lower equipment depreciation reduces product costs, enhancing competitiveness. After acquiring this machine, we secured more orders from FDI enterprises seeking cost-effective production in Vietnam, meeting their requirements.
Currently, 9 banks partner with the fund to evaluate loan applications, though many applications face rejection due to procedural issues.
Inconsistent interpretations among banks, branches, and credit officers often lead to rejected loan applications, leaving businesses frustrated in their pursuit of low-interest funding.
To address this, associations are strengthening their role as intermediaries, offering free training programs to support businesses.
We invite the SME Development Fund officers to our headquarters for training, coaching, and consulting sessions, organizing them by industry and job groups targeted for disbursement.
As of February, the fund has approved more than 37.5 million USD in loans, a figure expected to rise as procedures are streamlined and loan appraisal criteria are standardized between funds and banks.
Coming up next on VTV News. Green tick of responsibility ensures strict produce quality control. An entertainment industry leverages the idol culture. Welcome back to VTV News. Now, a series of incidents regarding the quality of agricultural products have caused public concern and frustration. Many solutions have been proposed, including the Cooperative Program for Goods Quality Control, commonly known as the Green Tick of Responsibility Initiative. And after a year, the initiative has already positively impacted agricultural production regions.
At this supermarket, the packaging of fruit and vegetables now features a special mark, allowing consumers to recognize products that are part of the Green Tick of Responsibility initiative. Launched in March last year, the program helps suppliers and retailers ensure strict product quality control.
Whenever I see a green tick of responsibility, I immediately know that my safety is guaranteed when consuming that product.
Ho Chi Minh City's Department of Industry and Trade has expanded the program into the Central Highlands since the beginning of this year, as the region is a key agricultural supplier for the entire country. In Lam Dong Province, many facilities are interested in the initiative.
We have a code for customers to scan, allowing them to see which farmer grew the product in Dalat City. This transparency ensures accountability, so we regularly remind farmers to take responsibility for the products they bring to market.
At this farm, vegetables are cultivated following global GAP standards. The producer has integrated various technical solutions to control pesticide residues.
Because we ensure strict compliance with quality standards, we strongly support the Green Tick of Responsibility initiative.
As the leading vegetable-growing locality in the country, Lam Dong supplies the market with 3 million tons of vegetables annually. Therefore, producers hope the green tick of responsibility will be widely implemented. This initiative not only protects consumers, but also safeguards honest producers.
The Ministry of Health has received 500,000 doses of measles vaccine donated by the Vietnam Vaccination Center system to support catch-up vaccinations for children. And these vaccines will be distributed immediately to localities, accelerating the national measles vaccination campaign as directed by the Prime Minister. The goal is to vaccinate at least 95% of unvaccinated or under-vaccinated children in high-risk areas and outbreak zones. And since the beginning of the year, Vietnam has recorded approximately 40,000 suspected measles cases and 5 measles-related deaths. A homes handover has kickstarted the wider construction of homes for low-income families in Quảng Trị province. The housing development in Hướng Hóa district, Quảng Trị province was inaugurated in a ceremony coordinated by the Ministry of Public Security in Quảng Trị province. Following the presentation of 200 homes for people experiencing poverty, the Ministry of Public Security mobilized support to build 1,143 houses for low-income families and also people with housing difficulties in Quảng Trị province. At the inauguration ceremony, the Ministry of Public Security leaders hope that people would strive to overcome difficulties and also improve their lives after having new, spacious, solid houses. Merchandise associated with idols, such as albums, light sticks, posters, shirts, and keychains, which previously only appeared in foreign shows, have become popular in Vietnam. And this is seen as an opportunity for the entertainment industry to create new jobs and promote national culture.
This year's impressive music award also attracted an upsurge in viewers voting via text messages. The fan community called and voted for their favorite artists. In some voting awards, the amount of money fans spent could reach as high as 40,000 USD.
Those artists and shows create a huge buzz within the fan community.
The formidable spending power of fans can create an ecosystem, from fan meetings, regular music nights, and entertainment events to launching souvenir products or signing contracts with brands and sponsors. This is what foreign countries with developed entertainment industries have been doing for many years.
Normally, products have to be produced before selling. However, idol-related merchandise can be sold before it is produced. That is the biggest advantage of cultural industry products. Investors see the potential of this industry, so they will compete to see or eat better products.
Recently, a fan community called Global Fire jointly sponsored the Call Me by Fire program to the international press. More than 350 international news sites reported on this program, including many major agencies such as AP and SINA. The strong support of fans also poses challenges for artists and production companies to launch high-quality artistic products.
It is a very positive energy source, and it always motivates me to have confidence when attending international events or releasing music products.
From the producer's perspective, I think we need to invest more in content so that it can improve daily. We want to bring the audience the best and most unique experiences.
The K-pop industry, for instance, generates about 10 billion USD for South Korea each year. This country devotes significant resources to market research to reach a wider audience as effectively as possible and monetize idol culture. Vietnam can also draw on this experience in developing the entertainment industry.
In central Vietnam, families and villages function as both homes and cultural hubs, preserving traditions, customs, and history. While later generations honor key figures who founded villages and protected the homeland, time has eroded many cultural artifacts, including royal edicts, which are vital records of royal recognitions.
A ceremony in Nam Dương village reinstated 2 royal edicts from King Duy Tân and Khai Định, honoring founding god Nguyễn Phước Hữu Đại Lang. The originals were lost to a fire, prompting the Nguyễn Hữu family to collaborate with the Phie Institute of Cultural and Artistic Research to restore them.
We strive to restore traditions so future generations appreciate our ancestors' efforts. Understanding their hardships in reclaiming land will deepen their love for their homeland and inspire them to contribute to its growth.
The restoration of royal edicts reveals important historical accounts of the Nguyễn Hữu family role in protecting and developing the nation. Beyond honoring ancestors, this effort also educates younger generations, fostering pride and a sense of responsibility toward preserving their cultural heritage.
The restoration and announcement of the royal edicts honor the Nguyễn Hữu family while reinforcing the importance of preserving local traditions. This meaningful event serves as a reminder of the nation's spirit of gratitude and educates future generations on cultural heritage.
Restoring the royal edict is more than a ceremony. It presents a crucial step in cultural preservation. This restoration deepens understanding of ancestral roots, nurtures appreciation for traditions, and instills a sense of duty to preserve and promote Vietnam's cultural identity.
Coming up next in our world news. Ukraine confirms withdrawal from SUDZHA. And China's economy gets off to an impressive start in 2025. Now moving on to our world news, the Ukrainian armed forces confirmed that they have withdrawn from SUDZHA, a key town in Russia's western Kursk region that had been under Ukrainian control since August 2024. The recapture of SUDZHA marks another gain in Russia's military operation to push Ukrainian forces out of Russian territory. The Kremlin said Russia's military operation to retake the Kursk region has entered its final stage. The Russian Defense Ministry also reported capturing the settlements of Milovoy and Podol as of March 13th. Russian President Vladimir Putin recently met with a senior North Korean official in Moscow. President Putin met in the Kremlin with Ri Ha-yong, a Politburo member and secretary of the Central Committee of the Workers' Party of Korea. The Russian president expressed his gratitude for North Korea's active support of Russia, demonstrating the strengthening cooperation between the two countries. And since signing the Mutual Defense Treaty last year, Russia and North Korea have stepped up bilateral cooperation in defense, economy, sports, and other fields. The Chinese economy has maintained a good growth momentum, starting the year on a steady note, with sound industrial performances and impactful macro policies, official data revealed on Monday. And during January and February 2025, most key indicators saw solid increases. Employment remained generally stable, and new quality productive forces continue to grow, according to the National Bureau of Statistics. Consumer goods retail sales climbed 4% year-on-year in the first 2 months of 2025 to over 8.37 trillion yuan. And this year, expanding domestic demand is a top priority for the Chinese government, including 300 billion yuan for a recently expanded consumer goods trade-in scheme for electric vehicles, appliances, and other goods. Prefabricated or modular housing has been around for decades, and housing experts are again pointing to it as a way to ease the housing crisis. However, despite proving successful overseas, the domestic industry still faces challenges. A report from Australia.
In a high-tech factory, a robotic arm swings into action to shape the wall of a house.
Most of our manufacturing members are producing homes in 12 weeks, compared to traditional constructions taking around 18 months at the moment.
Prefabricated homes built on a production line have been lauded as a cheap and fast solution to Australia's need for housing for decades. Last year, the federal government announced a $900 million productivity fund to reduce red tape, and launched a voluntary certification scheme to simplify approvals. But cost, regulation, and financing remain key barriers.
There is a perception around modular building that they are a lower cost, cheaper option, but there is no cost saving over traditional building.
People are not used to thinking about prefabrication. They might not think it's as good a quality.
A national approach is expected to help solve the national crisis about housing at the moment.
And as usual, let's move on to the weather forecast. And that's all the news we have for this hour. To rewatch our program, you can download our mobile app VTVgo or check out our YouTube channel VTV4Go. Thank you for watching and see you next time.